Hello, everybody. This is L.A. Kendrick. Let the fire die down a little bit and get the remainder of the story out. Sundown Town, Part 5. And unless she sends me more, this will be the conclusion and wrap this thing up, okay? So, my reporter friend from Hackensack, New Jersey, went to find a friend of hers' daughter and also went to find the PI that was investigating the case into where her daughter's whereabouts might be. So let's start. We last left you, Gabby, my friend Shanice, we'll call her Shanice, and the young lady, they found the daughter of her friend. And they're on top of a building, but they're being surrounded by the townspeople, at least 6 to 8 of them. And they're not allowing them to leave. And they're trying to kill them at this point. So they look for a retreat, and Gabby's explaining to her, "Do you believe me now that those are not costumes? Those are flesh and blood people that are mutated into ghouls." And she's, my friend, she's stunned, she's shocked, she can't believe what she's seeing with her own two eyes. So Gabby says, I got a plan. So we're going to run in this direction. When that happened to my friend, she has her gun drawn, and Gabby says, "Don't shoot because you just attract more. Don't shoot unless it's your last resort." So he throws some sage out as the ghouls are trying to climb on top of the building to get them. He throws sage out, and the sage, for some reason, makes the ghouls back away, fall off the building and make them back away. And then he hands her some and say, if they ever get close, this is what you want to smear around them or smear on your skin, on your body. That way they won't be able to touch you or harm you. And he's just learned that through trial and error and watching them over the time that he's been alive in the town. So they hop off of the building, and they land in a hay pile, and they run in different and they run. But Gabby says, "You go in that direction, I'll lead them off in that direction." And when he does, he tells them not to move until he makes his move. And then he makes his move and draws all the attention. He gets on his bike, and he's hauling it out of there. He's really moving, trying to get out of that spot. And then my reporter friend, what she does is that she waits like he says to do, and he points to, she knows the direction that she needs to go into. And she's looking at her phone and tracking it with the GPS to see how to get back to the hotel for protection and more of the things that she got to protect herself there. And so she puts her associates, she gets on the bike and tells her associate's daughter, to get on the bike as well and hold on tight. So they hightail it out, and they make it back to the hotel room. And the daughter's, is really hysterical, and she starts breaking down and crying, and she balls up into like a fetal position, but she's sitting upright, and she's just unwilling to move at this point. So all of a sudden they hear a splash against the door, and my friend, she opens the door and she realizes that it's blood. Don't know what kind of blood it is, don't know what kind of animal blood it is. She just knows that there's blood on the door, and it's sliding off, and it even it almost seeps into the room until she puts a towel down. And she notices that there are glowing eyes out there in the darkness, and those eyes start coming closer, rushing the hotel room. And when they do this, she slams the door and locks it. And they're beating on the door, and they're beating on the door once they get to it, and they're just trying to get in. All of a sudden, you start seeing them actually make holes in the door. So she shoots. She starts shooting through the door. And as she does this, she reaches for the phone and tries to call the front office, but the front office line is busy. So she fires a couple of shots through the door, and then they kind of scatter. And I think she may have hit a couple of people from what she said, and a couple of things. We can't call them people. A couple of things that she said, and they kind of scatter for the moment. So she's calling the 911, and 911 is not responding. Nothing's responding. and she's trying to figure out how to get out of there now, because now she's pretty much barred into this hotel room. But then she can hear scratching and beating on the walls all around her from the other rooms. And she doesn't have her vehicle, because remember, her vehicle's still getting worked on. And she hasn't heard anything back from the mechanic, even though he did give, he gave her a timeline of when it possibly could be. And, she's really, really panicking at this point. And she's just doing everything she can. So she throws sage, she takes the sage and she lights it and she throws it in front of the door, out through one of the cracks that they've made trying to get into to the hotel. And the sage is keeping them away, so to some of them, but then they're still trying to come in through the walls on the left and to the right of her. And she can even hear them above her smashing on the floor above her. So she's really understanding just how severe this thing is, and the daughter of her friend is really just pretty much out of it at this point. So by this time, she hears a car pull up and it stops, and you can see the headlights on high beam, and you can hear, she tells me, again, she says she's got footage. I'll have to see the video footage. She says she's got footage, and to prove what she's saying is not something made up or fallacy. Okay, and I've never known her to be a liar, but this story seems really, really super, in my opinion. But again, I'm just here to tell the story and narrate it to the best of my ability. And she can hear people getting thrown about and screaming and hollering, and you can hear the whole nine. And it sounds like there are two guys, and she can't make out who they are. And then she realizes it's her boyfriend, and he's brought one of his friends. And they're fighting these ghouls, and I mean, they're beating them, shooting, and the town starts to gather around them. So they keep the motor running. He beats on the door and lets her know that he lets her know and reassures her that that's him. So she opens the door, and they hug and embrace each other really tightly. So her fiance's friend, he tells him, "Hey man, we need to get out. We need to go, because they're surrounding the cars." And he's like, "What the hell are these things?" And she said, "This is what's been kidnapping people in New Jersey and probably other parts of the country, because this is not an isolated incident, from what the PI, his investigations, and have led up and shown." So they pile everybody into the car and they peel out, and they're gone. They don't even try to go get her vehicle to see if it's, they don't even try to wait. They just leave. And I think, she said she made arrangements to have her vehicle picked up and brought back. I mean, have it shipped back up there to her. So, you can see, as they're peeling out, the things are like on the hood of the car, and they're trying to get into the vehicle, and they end up not being able to hold on because the velocity of the car picks up so much that they can't hold on, of course. And he's looking at his fiance and he's like, "Man, I wish I had come with you, and this is why I didn't want you to go in the first place." And she said, "Well, you see the results. I found her." And she's going to need a lot of therapy after what they've seen. And she said her fiance can validate and vouch for what she's seen, but they just don't want to talk about it right now because she thinks that nobody will believe them. Strange things happen all the time in our society, and things that we can't make sense of, and stuff that we don't believe right off the bat until it actually happens to us. But she takes her, she reunites the mother and the daughter. R.I.P. on the investigator, the PI, because he didn't make it, and we don't know what happened to Gabby, but pretty sure he's okay. If he survived as long as he has, then he knows the tricks of the trade. And she's shook. She's pretty shook. So again, she sent this information to me, because she knows I have, I do sci-fi stuff and true to life events, and she said this is a true story. So yeah, I think that I've seen pictures. Like, I've actually seen pictures of stuff that, and it's kind of out of focus, and I'm like, what is that? And I can't really make heads or tails of what I've seen. So, it's kind of tough to discern. She saw something, and there is something in the picture. But the fiance tells her she'll never do that again without him being present. And like I say, they barely escape with their lives. And this is a tale that she actually lived to tell. And she's going to come out with it sooner or later, but she doesn't want to be ridiculed. And she just never thought she'd see anything like this. She thought that things like this were only in the movies and only in books and stuff to scare kids and keep them on the straight and narrow. But she said it's legit. She said those sundown towns got a lot of stuff going on in them, and there's a reason more than just, the obvious racism and things of that nature. But there are other things that are going on, and this just proves that that's what the second degree or the second level of what could be possibly taking place. And so you guys tell me what you think. Like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that thumbs up, all right? Really appreciate anything that you guys do, all the support. My Cash App, if you want to donate to help me get these, my other work, my two new books out. It's very difficult to get them out at this time because, again, the coronavirus has really slowed down my other work as a fitness trainer, and it's really slowed my work down. So we really appreciate it. It's at Outrage. I'm sorry. The Cash App is $ Outrage, capital O, everything else is lowercase, Outrage 95. So I'll be bringing you more stories. And again, check your closets, check under your bed, check the dark corners in your house, apartment, wherever you dwell. And if you happen to go out late at night to go to work or go to the stores or anything like that, check under your cars, because you never know what's lurking in the dark to make you a story. This is L.A. Kendrick bringing you the heavy.